From the heart of Dubai, where tomorrow is being built today, to the world. Welcome to the CTO Show with Mehmet. Here, we redefine technology and reimagine possibilities. With Mehmet, delve into the riveting realms of AI, cybersecurity, and digital technology. Experience the thrilling highs and lows of startups. Immerse yourself in the spirit of entrepreneurship and witness the future of business innovation being written in real time. Now, without further ado, let's tune in and explore the future.
Hello and welcome back to a new episode of the CTO Show with Mohamed. Today, I'm very pleased to have with me from the UK, Dr. Mohamed Zaki. He is a professor in the University of Cambridge. But Dr. Mohamed, what I love to do, I keep it to my guests to introduce themselves and what they are up to.
Sure, Mehmet. Pleasure to be with you in this show. Just a quick brief introduction of myself. As you introduced me, I'm an academic in the University of Cambridge. But also as well, I'm running a research center called Cambridge Service Alliance, which is an industrial consortium where we do a lot of research in areas like artificial intelligence, customer experience, services in general. My background, I started as an informatic person. Then I worked a little bit in industry. Then I decided to go academia back. So I did my master and PhD in the business analytics area, machine learning, AI, big data at that time. Then I joined Cambridge in 2013. And since then, my whole expertise and research is around how we can use AI to design and manage customer experience, create new business models, and etc. That's probably a brief background where I'm doing in research.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Mohamed, for being here today. And actually, it's something I love to do, blendings, a lot of things. So I mix tech with business. But because we're going to discuss today about, the areas that you mentioned, data analytics, customer experience, and AI. So would love to hear it from not business perspective, but from academia perspective, because actually, from my humble experience, I know that things start at academian level, and then sometimes, they find use cases and take there. So let's start, from, like machine learning and customer experience. How because it's something I started to think when I read your article before I reached out to you. And the first thing, or question that came to my mind, how does machine learning contribute to enhancing customer experience in today's landscape? Can you elaborate a little bit on this part?
Sure. So I think they contribute in two things. One, if you like, the design questions, and also as well, the second one, it's the management question. So when it comes to design question now, most of products and services, digital, if you like, platforms integrating this new emerging technology like AI, they enable us to provide a seamless experience to our customers. So that's probably the design part, right? So how we can understand our customers better in the back of this and what kind of preferences they may need. So I can involve this in the design part. And when I am talking about design here, it's actually how we can integrate the digital channel with the physical channel and the social elements as well. And that's a big problem with a lot of firms. They are struggling at the moment with, because sometimes you're thinking only from the digital part. So how can I make the capability of the digital work, right? And then I'm not integrating this well with my physical journey, and also as well my social interactions with my customers, right? So that's me. If you like, there is no consistent experience that the customers, when they interact with the firm, have a lot of challenges, right? Because I can work with your tech very well, but then when I go and integrate this with physical, is not working somehow. And also as well, the social part is not working. A very good example, let's imagine I am buying a product, right, from a specific brand. So I go first of all to the online presence, like on the platform or the app, right? Then I'll check that product. It exists in one of the branches close to my home, for example, or house. So the first thing I want to go and experiment and try this product, see it, and etc. Right? So I don't want to buy it straight away from a online platform. Right? And when I go there, right, I don't find the product. Although in the digital channel, right, you will find that the product is it's in this kind of store. So that's the integration between, if you like, the digital and the physical is broken. So if you go now back to asking an employee inside the physical store, so that's the social interaction part, right, with the employee inside the organization. And let's imagine a scenario where the employee doesn't understand or is not knowledgeable or she's not knowledgeable enough about what is this product is, etc. And that's break the relationship now between you as the customers and the brand, because the whole experience now become very, very bad, right? So probably I come out from the experience that I'm not going to visit the store, I'm not going to buy from them anymore. And hence, this is where, for example, some of the brands loses customers in this kind of misalignment of not integrated channels. So that's probably the design question part. So how we make sure even we are including not only the AI, the digital components in general between, and make sure that the design is really consistent and very great experience integrated so the customer can still work with us. In the management part, really, this is where a lot of example where the AI could be used to help us to manage the experience better. So traditionally, organization again relying on metrics like net promoter score, overall satisfaction, customer effort score, like survey metrics. They enable us to understand customer preferences, how the service went, how the experience went, and etc. And they just go and do some general statistics. Our customers, 80% are customer happy, we have 20%, for example, not happy, and how we can recover some of these issues. Now with a lot of these kind of new digital capabilities and integrated again with the physical and the social, a lot of data will be generated from this platform. Actually, this is one of the key promises of the digital at the moment. So we are trying to engage better with our customers. We are trying to get closer from our customers. And we try to inject a lot of data that comes from these channels, right? It is where you can apply the AI and analytics to understand the customer preference, what they like, what they prefer, what they need. How can I customize and personalize journey based on their preferences, right? And how can I cluster them? How can I understand who is valuable for me, who is not valuable for me? And this is can enable now to use some of these capabilities like predictive analytics to predict behavior, to predict the attitude, right? Predict, what I can offer for my specific segment of customer, the things that we personalized experience in general, right? So how can I personalize it? And hence, this is a lot of capabilities now that we can use and integrate what I call it attitudinal data that can be generated from specific sources of systems. Also emotional data, right? So that comes from our reviews, from our communications call centers, right? From CRM systems and etc. And then what we call it behavioral data. So that could be, for example, our sales transactions. And that's now again going beyond. I'm just relying on one metric to tell me whether my customer is really happy about the service and the journey I'm offering them. Now into more rigorous approach, right? That I'm integrating different data from different systems to enable me really to use capabilities like AI to predict whether my customers are loyal or not, right? And if they're not loyal, how to get them to become a loyal customers in a sense, by understanding obviously the behavior, their attitude, their qualitative components as well, when they are expressing this in different channels.
That's great explanation, Dr. Muhammad. One question that came to my mind, because you touched base at the end a little bit on the metrics that they need to measure and track. Now, what is the best way to figure out what all these metrics? Because it depends. I know that it might depend from vertical to vertical. So, for example, the metrics in the retail vertical are different, let's say, from manufacturing. But I mean, what are the traits that would determine? Okay, let's focus on metric one, metric two, metric three. how do they choose these metrics?
I think the metrics is helpful, but I think before the metrics, we need to build a culture internally before we go to the metrics themselves. And this is where we call it how to become a customer experience-centric organization
Mhm.
in general, regardless the sector that you are operating on. We saw a lot of examples where firms just focusing about product centricity or service centricity, they not return the same return of investment. I mean, when they are investing in technology and etc. Than the one that really relied on experience as a key thing, right, or a key culture that enable all the organization to work around it, enable to sell experience in essence, right? And the differences here is really unique here. So the one key thing is actually you need to think about the shift, the attitude. So you need to go from I'm selling a product and I'm selling a service and I'm trying to get some margins from these products and services and profitability in a sense into sustain a growth by loyal customers that keep all the time come to me and actually they are become my advocate customers that go and bring more and more customers, right? So I think this is one of the key aspects of the organization we need to think about, that shift to the attitude, shift to we as an organization not selling only a product or service, we are selling experience here to our customers. And the second part here is actually, again, going beyond one function, like I have a marketing function who's responsible to, if you like, communicate my products and service ideas to my customers and also measure it, like you said, by specific metrics, like net promoter scores, etc., into more become a wider perspective, right? Really all of us, from the CEO to the typical employees that interacting with our customers, all of us really into this customer centricity perspective. So that changed a lot, how we are measuring it, how we are managing it, etc. Now, when it comes to really the metrics and the measurements, come back to your questions, you need to think about a couple of dimensions here. One is the superior performance. Every customer, when they are interacting with your firm, they are really looking for a superior thing. I'm not going to pay money, right, for a service, especially for a service or a brand or a product that has a lot of competition, right? So I can use this company A, right, to buy from, and I can use company B. So again, it's my choice here as a customer. And I will choose typically the one that perform well, right? Perform better, right? I think the second element here is the quality of the service and the product that you are providing, or the quality of the journey. So if I have a seamless experience with you, I don't have any hassle when I'm interacting and engaging with your company, I will prefer it. So actually how firms can measure quality of whatever they do over the times to the customer. So that's going to be translated into the metrics that they should focus on. I think there is an element of adoration, I call it, or emotional attachment with the firm. And we saw this a lot with a lot of brands. So I don't want to put just names here, but you can see when Apple, for example, tomorrow initiate a new product out, there are people queuing right outside Apple Store. So that shows emotional attachments with the brand design, with what they are offering, what things they are doing different than any organization. You need that similar kind of customers loyal to you, coming to your brand when you are initiating new product and service. So that emotional element and adoration about what you do is quite significant when you are managing and also designing your service to your customer. I think the fourth element is why a good service and product, but if not translated into a quantification of profit, there's something wrong here, right? So customers like us, adore us, but they don't buy from us. It's not a business metrics at all. So how you really go to the behavioral aspect, are the customer rebuying from us, repurchasing product and service? They come from, we are issuing new product and service, and etc. Then I guess the last part is the communication. So if the customer really happy about our product and service and quality, rebuying from us, how to what extent he or she become if you like, our advocate customers who's telling others around our product and service and convince them, right, as well. Sometimes they become your fan in essence, and they become try to tell people about your products and how they're good and services. So I guess this is all the key measures or key dimensions. But before you go to the dimension, you need to build the processes, the capabilities, the attitude shift from selling a product and service experience in essence.
Yeah. And I like the example of Apple, and there are like some other brands that they do this very well. And it's, the customer experience. People, I think they mix it, Dr. Muhammad, with just one aspect, like it's the website, or, it's just, but I think it's the full journey, right? Like it's not only, like, okay, how I purchase this. And I think there's a lot of examples of even after sales also, it's like a customer experience, right? So pretty much, I love this example. I know you mentioned in a previous interview something related to uh, data maturity. I mean, or digital maturity, sorry. So, what is this digital maturity and how it helped in crafting a seamless customer experience? And also, like an add on question, if I am new to business, how I can achieve this maturity as fast as possible?
I think this is still a question about capabilities, I was saying. So if you want to become a customer-centric organization, and digital obviously on the heart of this, right? So all organizations now have a strategy or a ways to think about how they transform their business. That's specifically for established firms who are shifting from what they were doing into using digital to become enablement, right? To what they will offer in the future. Also, this is relevant to startups, new businesses in essence, which is I'm thinking mostly they are doing this well because sometimes they quite fresh, they quite new, they don't have that legacy businesses that typically they have. The back to the maturity question that I was referring to. This is one of the key challenges with a lot of firms. They are grappling this because of that integration between the digital and physical and social needs a lot of complexity here, right? Integrating different systems, applying new capabilities of AI, for example. Let's shift into an Amazon Go store, for example, right? That's a good example of digital, physical, and social in one place, right? So if you go to Amazon Go as a store, you'll find a lot of sensorial IoT solutions, cameras, and capturing visions and images and etc. All this on the cloud, mobile apps as well. So you get inside the Amazon using your account to Amazon Go. You go and choose your products, and the whole thing is about seamless experience. I go, I buy products, right? I go out without queuing for a cashier or or paying the money. It's actually everything will be counted in my digital wallet and paid automatically after I go out, right? So that's an example of how complex will be a place that integrating a lot of digital capability. Now imagine there are not mature capabilities here from the digital and it's integrating with the physical and the social element. You will have a very bad experience, obviously. So let's imagine I go inside Amazon Go, I put my mobile app to get me in, the barrier doesn't open, right? For example. Try it once, twice, so you're probably out leave, right? Because it didn't work. So that's an example of a technology that didn't work, right? And something glitches happening that doesn't enable me as a customer to get in the store. So the whole value proposition that you are offering is done out in the window. Another good example is typically chatbot interactions and etc. So how many of us, right, have a lot of bad experience with chatbots that when we are interacting in digital platform, although it's quite mature at the moment, it's technology, but it's still not in the level that fulfill your needs, what you want from the company. And you get frustrated very quickly because you expect that companies does these things very well. And when you try to interact and engage, it turns out it's the opposite, which make you decide sometimes that you're not going to buy from this brand and etc. Microsoft at some point as well, that tail, experience that happening become abusive in the social media, so they have to shut it down in the second day. So even with a big tech firms, sometimes that maturity doesn't reach, and they put it in the public eye of the customers to engage with and interact. And if it didn't work, it could really come back as a firestorm of, I'm not going to use that service again. I'm not going to use that product. So it's key important when you are offering a digital service, it has to be mature and work, because one of the key aspects that customer really come to you is about the function, right? I need something from you. And if it doesn't work, I'm not going to interact and engage with you. So you could lose a lot of customers with that journey at some point.
Yeah, correct. And I've heard about stories before the chatbots became so famous, but that was with IVRs,
Yeah.
where there's a robot that actually answers you, and people were frustrated, because they were rerouted again, and
Yeah.
you don't have an access to a human being
Yeah.
to speak with. And yeah, like it's funny stories. Now, we are discussing mainly kind of the mass or the business that, it's like B2C businesses.
Right.
Now, personally, I'm curious to know how that compare or can be applied also to B2B businesses. And I'm asking this out of curiosity because, like every company that I used to work for, like even now I do business to business. I say I want to be customer centric. I say I want to give the customer experience, but you're dealing with business. So someone might ask, okay, how does that work in that space?
No, it's the same. So when I'm talking about the whole customer centricity approach is actually B2B and B2C, and actually B2B more easier, not easier in that sense. It's actually more relevant because it's based on relationship, right? So you have a handsome or not handsome. It's like a number of customers that you are interacting and engaging with them. Some of them you have very good relationship with, so that's why you have a success manager or you call it account manager. And some of them they not that valuable to you, so that's why they are scattered around. They come to you from one time to another to buy specific products and services. And in general, a lot of these B2B organizations really go into that customer simplicity as well because it's valid. So imagine if I'm a loyal customer here, because a B2B relation sometimes is the volume
Right.
of the transaction is quite a huge amount of money. So that's why you are trying to build that kind of great relationship with them. So imagine the world again of digital and physical and social, what that means, right? So let's take an example of um, 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 construction example, or for example, asset heavy, for example. So that's a B2B relationship. So one way is if you think about, I have a machine, a digger, right, that will operate in a quarry. So a lot of these kind of asset heavy industry try to go from a traditional approach that the customer calling you, right, when there is a breakdown of one of these assets and ask for your help to send a technician to fix a machine, for example, right? And again, that could take a visit of 2 to 3 days. You go diagnose, for example, you need the right tools, you come back again, you need the right part as well to fit it in and etc. Right? So that's again part of the journey, part of the experience. Now you want to employ the digital now, right? So you could think about ways of which is exist at the moment, obviously. So you have predictive maintenance, for example, right? So you have some assets, sensors inside these assets, which give you an indications when these machines could fail. So now become a proactive approach, right? So I can tell my customers, like, you don't need to react to work in reactive mode and call me when the machine gonna fail. I can, right, straight away from my operations center, identify the machine that will have a problem, and automatically I will send the right part, the technician that can fix the machines and etc. So that's again, if you think about the digital physical here, become changing because I'm moving from a traditional social interaction with the customer into more integration of the digital and the physical, because you're still operating in a workshop or a site, but also as well, you're still relying on your technicians to go and fix the machine. So there is that human to human interaction with the customer. Now think ahead a little bit. Hopefully in the future, we'll have a digital twin of this asset, right? So this is a lot of discussion at the moment, specifically in these sectors, applying, capabilities like digital twin to automatically, at some point, autonomously fix some of the errors at the machine itself without relying on the human element as well. So you don't send the technician to close that loop and make it faster in terms of fixing the machine automatically. So again, now you are relying your resources over the time to go more into the autonomous solution, autonomous, digital twin capabilities. And that's again to keep your relationship with your customer better, offer new services, because again, it's relying on the experience, offer new offers again that could actually build the data-driven business model opportunity with your customers, which it can move again from a traditional contracts that you're having with your customer here into sometimes it's a platform or a SaaS services. So you are shifting again your business model opportunity, relying on the experience, relying on the digital to offer the right solution for your customer. So to summarize, it's actually for B2B, in some instances, it's actually more important because it builds that kind of relation more and more with your customers and avoid them to shift to another vendor.
Great explanation again here. Now, you mentioned something a few moments ago regarding, because of course, when we decide to be customer centric and enhance the customer experience, we need, you said, to also have the culture, right? So now in a traditional business, like I know that a lot of these things currently they are hiring chief digital officers sometimes, but who is really the one who should be lobbying and convincing the board that guys, we need to be, as you said, data driven, we need to be customer centric. So first, whose responsibility if there is no chief digital officer? Second, from your experience, what advice you can give them, let's say, so what are the pitch that they need to use to convince the board to go and actually become a customer centric data driven company?
I think there is a lot of statistics. So you're right. So there is a question about the sponsorship and leadership inside the organization. And my view in this again, if you really keen to become a customer centric organization, because we are living in experience economy. So if the board doesn't uh, believe that we are in this kind of economy at the moment, there will be a problem. And actually, the millennium, the next generation of employees, the next generation of customers are re-opting in this kind of phenomenon, right? They are more into this and they can switch easily from one brand to another's. And actually, this is the danger of this. And actually, customer really need more and more. There is a lot of, if you like, market research statistics comes out of it, very significant that consumers need care about their businesses. They list speed, convenience, consistent experience. Uh, like you said, if they go to a website and they found it quite not in a good shape or dodgy or whatever, they wouldn't go and actually interact with that digital platform at all. So come back to your question, all these kind of statistics, it has to convince the board. Has to be initiatives inside an organizations toward that shift in attitude and etc. Who should be responsible in this? That's the context question. But more importantly, it needs like a refreshing of sponsorship. You need to give an organization or who is leading this the agility and the responsibility to take action, right? How to build programs internally to do this kind of integration that we talked about and etc. Now, it could be under the CEO, right, kind of initiative because it has to be visionary enough, right? To explain to the whole organization strategically why we are shifting into more customer-centric organization. And that could be translated into capabilities that they have, but also methods, but also as well a way and process internally, because you still have the delivery part, which has come from our employees and our frontline that would integrate with our customers. It could be your really give this to your chief marketing officer, or you could actually appoint a chief experience officer. There are organizations at the moment, they are really giving this to a specific person to think with the digital officer or the data officer, if you like, how we can build an alignment between our digital capabilities and the right journey that we want to offer to our customers to enable us to understand it better. So to answer your question is, I think you have two ways here. One is the top down, and it has to be sponsored somehow by your chief executive officer. And to be honest, the convincing part is actually coming from when you are really build business cases, engaging with your customers, and you have a profitability comes all the times from your loyal customers. It will be a very easy pitch to your board to say, we need more to build these initiatives and capabilities. So going beyond again that traditional metrics is that, you know, our customers say 80% are happy or not happy, going deeper into their behavior, build personalized experience. Again, if you look to digital board firms, that's what all the offer is about. So think about Netflix. It's about personalizing movies to specific segment, culture, country, right? That they are really offer about this. And that's all the business model is around this, Spotify, right, etc. So that would be translated as well to some of the establishment contexts, startup contexts as well. And you know, how you build these offers based on the experience, which could be translated into sustainable growth of loyal customers over the time. And if you show these statistics and these return of investments from some of the successful initiatives you do, it will really a good pitch to your customers. To both.
Yeah, great. And spot on, I would say again. Now, you mentioned something about digital twin. So, and I'm not asking about digital twin necessarily here, but what are other emerging technologies you are seeing having or being able to play a role, maybe now or in the future, to enhance the customer experience?
I think there is a huge shift now into this autonomous AI solutions in general. That should be a combination of new emerging technologies, not one technology per se. And I would say in some contexts and some businesses, not the one technology could be the keys. You can have the cloud, obviously, combined by the AI capability and AI. You could obviously include the generative AI at the moment, right? Quantum computing as well, you know, so where you have that huge computing power, and that can help in terms of driving these initiatives like autonomous cars in the future. You know, we're starting to see some example of this at our, if you like, economy at the moment. Like there's a lot of experimentations about these autonomous taxis, autonomous vehicles, and that's all equipped by this number of technologies that we're seeing. How to put them together and build that stack together, if you like, to enable that seamless experience to happen. But again, digital is not or new emerging is obviously a key component, but the more important, how you integrate it with the whole physical journey and social journey, like I'm saying all the time. And because if it's only that digital part, sometimes it becomes silos, and there is a lot of breaking in experience, if you like. And these interaction engagement needs a lot of thinking, a lot of new methods to integrate it, new ways of designing it to make sure that these experiences are seamless. And sometimes reach that point what we call sometimes customer delight. So if you want to think about how to go extra mile with your customers. So this is how you think about delighting your customers in some instance to enable that loyalty to increase and to enable you to use all the time. So it's a combination of these new emerging technologies. Obviously, there are technologies not only in the tech, but there are other technologies contextual. So thinking about the car, for example, kind of context, or automotive in general. You need to think about battery, for example, at the moment, right? So how you combine the AI with different physical, if you like, technologies that will integrate in a specific context. And we'll see this more and more and more. And this is where I would say a lot of established firms are struggling, because sometimes the pace of these technologies is quite high, and you build a strategy about using specific technologies to enable you to offer build the business cases internally and offer things to your customers. Then all of a sudden a new emerging technology comes out, then stop you right about doing things. So this is the, if you like, one of the key challenges that we are facing in digital transformation in general, because of the pace of the technology volatility. Also as well, you don't know your competitor. In some aspects, you can find some small startups comes from nowhere, competing with your sector. Who this company, right? And again, that pace is actually put a lot of pressure in a lot of executives and a lot of established firms in general.
Yeah. Now, to your point, Doctor, like how fast, because back in the days, and I've had the chance to work within the academic, let's say, society for quite some time. So at that time, I used to hear, whenever we do something on the academic level, whether it's a research center or, maybe it's like writing papers and so on, it used to take long time until it reached out and get the business case. How things have changed now, and how fast actually, like from the work, for example, you're doing currently within your research center, how fast things are going from labs, let's say, to be a full-fledged use case that we can see and interact with nowadays.
I think that is a very good question. So typically there is a pace between R&D labs and firms, and in general university labs as well, and what they do. And I think it's complementary. That's my straight answer. So typically organizations that we are dealing with, they have their own R&D activity. They do, they look as well to what kind of new technologies they should explore and experiments, and try to do all the project design thinking and try to get customers on board and offer services. But I guess the way I'm seeing the labs in academia, it's more looking ahead, right? So it's not about your traditional solving current problems that you're having with your customers. It's something should be looking at the next 2 and 3 years, right? And that's to give times for us as a researcher to think differently and think about different approaches, different methods, different frameworks, different tools. That's can help to shed some light about new thinking, new models, and etc. By the time it comes, it helps the firms, to get their thinking about that kind of concept, that framework, and to how they to be applied. So this is where I'm seeing the complementary approach. So R&D labs in general try to think about current problems, key challenges that the firm have, and how they experiment based. For us, we are thinking more about research questions, and that can think ahead a little bit in 2-3 years times what that means. And in sometimes this is complement these two approaches that is happening, and that's what we're saying. Some of our industry collaborators like to come to our events and engaging with our researchers, because they think it's quite going to be beneficial, give them new learning, new ways of thinking, new dimensions that they should think about it when it comes to offering these services or tools and training to their organization. So both of them we need, because to really the landscape of challenges is really complex. And we have our role to play, right, as an academic, and obviously industry have a role to play. And by complementing each other and coming and exchanging this knowledge and information, what you do, and can learn from them. And obviously we offer as well some learning, and they can learn from us. And we need more of these dissemination challenges. Now, coming back to the time frame of publication, question about time frame of publication,
Yeah.
goes out and dissemination. We break down these things into different things. So there is what we call an academic outcome. And the academic outcome is more sometimes in some publication that's a lot. It takes times for rigorous review. Some of your peer review academics has to look about your work, try to criticize it, and you have to defend it until it's become agreed that this is a novel ways of thinking about things. So it takes its own time. But in between this journey, you do a lot of things to enable the message to go out. So some of them, for example, the show that we have with you now, sometimes you try to use some content generation, like a small brief blog activity. We do industrial events as well. When some of these kind of new ideas, we test it with them. We try to take some feedback about the approach that we took, the finding that came out from the research, and that can be incorporated to help us to put this publication to an end. Build practical kind of outputs as well, so we can put this into things like more practitioner magazines, right? So like Harvard Business Review, MIT, and etc. So in general, between the journey, the academic outcome could be outlined in a journal, etc., which is sometimes in some journals takes time.
Right.
You break these down into conferences, events, meetings, workshops with people, and also as well some of the practical outlets as well that help to get the message out there until the final publication happens.
Great. Thank you very much for sharing all these insights. One question I think I missed, and this will be my final question for today, and I think we should have discussed this before, but that's fine, because we talked a lot about data and we talked about about utilizing this, and you gave the example from Netflix and Spotify about giving the experience, and you need the data to give this. So maybe it's a traditional question, but I love to hear different answers and from someone like yourself, doctor, because you are in the academia. So when we deal with data, we need, and I'm asking this for my audience who are mainly in the startup space and like co-founders, technical co-founders. I think there is a thin line, and between collecting the data and then being compliant, and about protecting this data first from theft, breach, and even encryption. Like this data can go like be hit by kind of a ransomware or something like this. So what do you advise, fellow co-founders, when it comes, okay, they need to collect data, but how they should deal with these, let's call them challenges, let's call them pitfalls, maybe, maybe it's like running on fire pits as well. So what you can tell us on this challenge?
Of course. So I think there's the first question, how we can collect data. So especially for startups, sometimes established firms, they actually have the luxury that they have access to a lot of data internally, right? That's probably the first question. So we have classified this in a very, if you like, simplistic way. One is the internal data, right? So to you as a startup or a co-founder, right, have internal data that came from previous experience and etc. that you can rely on to enable to inject this into your products or AI product to enable you to come this to life, right? And or you have an external data that you rely on. We saw a lot of startups that relying on social media. I mean, ChatGPT, for example, the recent breakthrough for generative AI, the whole experience, the whole model or large language model is just relying on external internet data. Okay? So relying on the internet data to enable them really to train these models, to enable to become more intelligent. And this is a way that now people interacting with these kind of products in general. So the the more we saw a lot of examples from startups in general relying on these external data, unless you have access to companies and customers who are willing to collaborate and with you to give you access to this data and to enable you to do things with it, and you offer new value proposition to this. So this is what we call it customer data in general. And in
Mhm.
essence, a lot of startups operate, some of them operating in that space. So they try to pilot with customers and they want to prove that they have a new capability, new models, enable this to pilot, for example. So the customer agree to give them it. Now we come back to the question: how can I use this data in a transparent, in a ethical way, in a also as well secure way, right?
Right.
there is there is there is a lot of ways to think about this. So probably at the first start, typically established firm, when they provide you the data, they will operate in non-disclosure agreement. So this is one of the key things that they will start with you and integrate with you. And you need to make sure that obviously all the things that you complied with, you are really not in a situation where you have a problem later on. So, like you said, theft or data has been breaches, and etc. There is also relying on some cloud infrastructure, established cloud infrastructure like Amazon and AWS and etc. They follow some protocols and some processes where they try to make sure the data in a secure servers, the data in a place that you actually have some compliance aspects, and you should really go with the one that you are really uh, your customer is happy with, right? Or the customer that all the data is really integrated with. Now, technology in general has this kind of problems all the time, right? So you will find a hacker or something that they could try to steal these kind of data for ransoms and etc. And these kind of things. This is why you have to not to really get excited as a startup in general that you are really capturing some data from your customer. You need to put some protocols, how to save the data in a secure place, how the data could be really avoid any problems and issues, privacy protocols as well. Sometimes if you're dealing with customer data or the customer data, you need
Mhm.
to have these kind of frameworks and tools, GDPR issues, and etc. Where are you operating in general? And this is really key important things to make the customer of this startup of this firm trust the firm over the time that they put the right protocol, the right guidelines, the right processes to avoid any issues that are happening in the future. Um, but that's one of the kind of key advices. And I found a lot of co-founders get excited about like getting the data. Now let's apply some of our capabilities on the data, that they put the data in servers where it's not secure, for example, or machines is not secure, exchanging this data as well. So it has to be a protocol where you can share and exchange and secure this data, apply it in the right way. And there is frameworks and tools and digital platforms can help you to enable you to do so. It might cost a bit money, but it will build that trust and great relationship with your customer or whoever give you access to that data.
Yeah, 100%. And this is why I always repeat to founders like, you need to take care of that because you are dealing with something that actually you don't see it immediately as tangible money, but actually this is your wealth because data
Yeah.
is the new wealth. Dr. Mohammed, really, I enjoyed the chat with you today. Was there anything that you wished I have touched upon on to? Is there anything that you want to add? Maybe I
Uh,
didn't ask.
Not at all. I think we covered a lot of items here, a lot of issues, a lot of topics, and I really it was a pleasure to be with you on this show. I really enjoyed that discussions, and hopefully it's helpful and useful for a lot of people who are watching the show.
Great, thank you very much, and really I appreciate. You have a very busy schedule, and you have been generous with the time also as well. So thank you very much, and this is how I usually end my episodes. For the audience, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I tried to do this time something different, having someone from the academia to tell us about what's happening in the customer experience, digital transformation, and even data security we touch on at the end. So thank you for the feedback that you are always sending. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for all the recommendations that you also are writing to me. And as usual, if you also are interested to be a guest on the show, don't hesitate. Reach out to me, and can arrange for that. No issues at all. And don't forget to tune in to a new episode very soon. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Hit that subscribe button, share the show with your tech-savvy friends and fellow entrepreneurs, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Your support means the world to us.